Metals and non-metals. There are 118 chemical elements known at present. There are similarities as well as differences in the properties of these elements. Basis on their properties, all these elements can be divided into two main groups: metals and non-metals. Both metals as well as non-metals are used in our daily life. We also use a large number of compounds of metals and non-metals. Before we go further and give the definitions of metals and non-metals, we should know the meaning of some new terms such as malleable, ductile, and brittle. Malleable. Malleable means which can be beaten with a hammer to form thin sheets. Malleability is the property of elements due to which they can be beaten with a hammer to form thin sheets without breaking. Next, ductile. Ductile means which can be stretched or drawn into thin wires. Ductility is the property of elements due to which they can be stretched or drawn to form thin wires. Brittle. Brittle means which breaks into pieces on hammering or stretching. Keeping all these points in mind, we will now write the definitions of metals and non-metals. First of all, we will write the definition of metals. What do we mean by metals? What is metal? Elements which are malleable, ductile, conduct heat and electricity, sonorous means producing sound when we strike with a hard substance, lustrous it means having shining property, hard, strong, heavy are known as metals. In other words, we also can define metals: elements having the properties of malleability, ductility, conductivity, sonorousness, lusterness are known as metals. Some example of metals are aluminum, iron, calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, silver, gold, lead, tin, mercury, etc. The majority of known elements are metals. All the metals are solid at room temperature except mercury, which is a liquid metal. During chemical reactions, metals form positive ion by losing electrons. Based on this observation, we can give another definition of metals as metals are the elements which form positive ions by losing electrons or by donating electrons. For example, aluminum is a metal which form aluminum ions Al3 plus by losing electrons. In fact, metals are electropositive elements because they form positive ions by losing electrons or donating electrons. Metals are widely used in our daily life for a large number of purposes. We use metals for making utensils, electric fans, sewing machine, buses, trucks, cars, scooters, motorcycles, cycles, trains, ship, aeroplanes. All are made up of by metals or the compounds of metals called alloy. The list of particles made by metals is unending. Metals are also very important for the national economy of every country. The most abundant metal in the earth crust is aluminum, which constitute 7% of the earth crust. The second most abundant metal in the earth crust is iron, which constitute 4% of the earth crust. The majority of metal in the earth crust in decreasing order of their abundance are aluminum, iron, calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium. Next, we will define non-metals. What do we mean by non-metals? Non-metals are the elements which do not conduct heat and electricity and are neither malleable nor ductile but brittle, soft, dull in appearance are known as non-metals. Some example of non-metals are oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, helium, neon, argon, krypton, etc. There are 22 non-metals in which 10 are solid at room temperature, one bromine is liquid at room temperature and rest 11 are in the gaseous form. During chemical reactions, non-metals form negative ion. Based on this observation, we can give another definition of non-metal. Non-metals are the elements which form negative ion by receiving or gaining or accepting electrons. For example, oxygen is a non-metal which form oxide and O2 minus by gaining, by accepting, by receiving electrons. In fact, non-metals are electronegative elements which form because they form negative ions. The number of non-metals are small when we compare with metals, but they play very important role in our daily life. In the absence of non-metals, life is not possible on the earth because we all living organisms require oxygen for our survival. Oxygen is very, very necessary for breathing of all organisms. Oxygen also support combustion. In the absence of oxygen, combustion does not take place. Second, carbon is also a non-metal which also play very, very important role in our daily life, because carbon compounds like carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, fats, enzymes are essential for growth and development of organisms. The most abundance non-metal in the earth crust is oxygen. It constitutes about 50% of the earth crust. It means oxygen constitutes 50% of the earth crust. Second most abundant non-metal in the earth crust is silicon, which constitute 26% of the earth crust. The majority of non-metals in the earth crust in decreasing order of their abundance are oxygen, silicon, phosphorus and sulfur. Thanks.